Welcome to the beautiful world of aquascaping. Welcome to Green Aqua. Have we met before? If we haven't, I'm Balázs Farkas and I'm teaching you all there's to be known about this great hobby of freshwater planted tanks. Well, aquariums really. The automatic subtitling that we use thinks we're talking about war machines here. It's the exact opposite. It's the piece of zen. Today we're going to talk about this tank. Not this one. This one was made by Victor. That tank. "60 liters or 16 gallons is the optimal volume when building your first planted aquarium. I'll tell you why if you stay with me while I scape this cool ADA set with a twist. I'll be using red plants only. Today, I wanted to take some time to talk about how you might want to build your first serious planted tank. The 60p size, which has a width of 60 centimeters or 23.6 inches, is the silver lining in aquascaping. It is big enough to be a biologically stable aquarium and to be visually appealing in an average-sized room. And it is small enough not to eat into your budget too much. The set that I'm using now is a premium ADA set though. That is at the higher end of the cost curve. We love it because of the uncompromising quality and the research and development the Japanese brand invests into making their products. For those of you who did not hear of ADA before, Aqua Design Amano was funded by a Japanese nature photographer who became the world's first aquascaper. His name is Takashi Amano. So what do you need for a biologically stable planted tank with good looks? First, the glass itself is clear type. We call it Opti-White because it is low on iron, which makes it really transparent. It has transparent glue too. We don't like the black silicone too much. It gives a frame to the picture, and we like the packaging to be seamless with these planted tanks. For the same main reason, we just love open top tanks. Well, if you have a cat that likes fish, you're out of luck. But for all others, if you want the water to be part of your living space, you should really consider to have an open top rimless tank. No obstructions. This solution also helps you keep the ideal water temperature of around 23-24 degrees Celsius or 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Works with most tropical fish. So what about the cabinet? First, don't forget to use a mat below the tank to help with the even distribution of weight. The weight could be twice the volume with all the soil, water, and rocks in there. I would say 120 kilograms or 260 pounds for a 60p tank. That's quite a lot for a small cabinet. For this project, we've got the ADA metal cabinet here. The regular viewers know that we're not big fans of internal filters. They take up a lot of space, obstruct the view. Sponges are inefficient as biological filter media. We like to have big external filters underneath our tanks with good filter media, the big volume hosting billions of bacteria that will help us fight the ammonia spikes, a little chemistry for you, and that is poisonous to the fish and it's causing algae. The ADA Superjet filter that comes with this setup is really sexy. I really like it to be exposed. Here we have an ADA Aquasky RGB LED light. It's the RGB 60 actually, which fits the width of the tank perfectly. If you're a beginner, I'd like to encourage you not to be afraid to use CO2 injection in your planted tank. Plants need carbon dioxide to thrive. You'll be able to light the aquarium with a brighter light, making it the focus of your room. You will be able to successfully grow more plants than without CO2. We've got a 2 kilogram or 4.4 pounds canister here underneath this tank. That will last about 4 to 5 months and it can be refilled easily. And don't forget to do the daily water changes of about 50% in the first week after the setup, gradually scaling it down to weekly 1 water change after 3 weeks. This is the tech in a nutshell. We've got tutorials about each topic I just mentioned. I'll be happy to answer all your questions about this in the comments. So without further ado, let's start setting up this planted tank here. Red is the new green. I'm only going to use red plants here. I'm not sure I've seen any similar scapes before. What do you need to grow nice red plants? That's a question that I'm asked quite often. First of all, you will need a lot of light, a lot of good quality light. Secondly, you will need a lot of CO2, so you will need a pressurized CO2 injection in the tank. Thirdly, you will need low nitrates. So there's a fertilization guide on this channel. If you want to learn more about fertilizing, you can check that video out. I'm going to link that in the description as well. Having CO2 is not a must. So you could do these under low light conditions without CO2. All these plants will probably survive in your planted tank without CO2 injection, but they're not going to be as red as under these conditions here. And this is it, and then we have Gary here helping us and kicking about the lights, which is perfectly cool. We've got red plants, and I want to create some contrast, so I thought that it would be a nice idea to use the cereal stones, which under these lights are gonna get a bluish tint. And in the foreground, I'm planning to use the JBL river sand, which is gonna be sprinkled with some little crushed cereal stone pebbles. And that's it. So I'm gonna take the light off and introduce the rocks. So I'm gonna ask Gary to help me with that. He already helped me with gluing the rocks together with the Impa glue. All these plants are really relatively high plants, so I need a hardscape that would stick out from those plants. So as you can see, we have an ABC structure here, with the A being the highest point, the main stone, B being the supporting stone, the second one, and the lowest is the C point. An odd number, it looks more natural. In nature, you rarely see symmetry. There's going to be a path visible in between stones A and B, and that's going to lead the eye towards the back upwards. So we're going to fill the foreground up with sand. We're going to fill the background up with the base layer fertilizing substrate, which is at the bottom of the tank, and it will provide a lot of nutrients to the plant roots. And then we're going to cover that with a clay-based substrate, the so-called general plant substrate, and that's going to be a substrate that is really suitable for plant growth, and you can have nice roots, root structure and aeration for the roots actually in that soil, and billions of bacteria will also help the external filter in the soil. Before I start pouring in the base layer fertilizing substrate and the decoration sand, I'm going to put some fine filter mesh, which is available in big bags here at Green Aqua, and I'm going to put that in between the cracks of the rocks, and that will prevent the two soil types mixing. So I'm pouring in the JBL Zanzibar River sand, which is very similar to the ADA La Plata sand. I want to keep the sand as low as possible in the foreground. It will give a lot of height to the tank if I do so. As I'm ready with the foreground sand, I'm going to pour in the background base layer fertilizing substrate. And for that I'm going to use the ADA Power Sand Special S, which already has bacteria and soil nutrients in it. This needs to be covered with general plant substrate, otherwise it will contaminate the water and you will have lots of algae. Next step, general plant substrate. Using a good quality general plant soil is very important because it will help with the oxygenation of the whole scape, and it will help creating bigger slopes towards the back of the tank. If you don't do this, you will not have a nice angle of view from the front. So in this way the whole scape is shifted, tilted towards you. So let's continue with the sand in the middle and bring the path all the way to the back. I've got some crushed cereal stones here, and I'm going to add detail to the sand with that. I'm going to also try to prevent the soil from rolling forward by placing this in places where I see that there's a problem. I want to have the end point visible here in the left golden ratio point. These are the two golden ratio points of a planted tank. If you place the point of interest of your picture in the golden ratio point, you will have a nicely balanced, very natural looking picture. The golden ratio has been explained in many videos of ours, so you can check those out. Okay, in a little less than half an hour, I was ready with the hardscape and the soil, so let's start planting. So what kind of red plants are we using in this scape? The main plant is the Alternanthera reiniki mini. I'm not going to say this word again in this video, I'm just going to say ARM. It's a plant that will grow probably 10 to 12 centimeters high if you let it grow. So if we want to keep it low and keep it like a foreground plant in this 60p tank, we'll need to trim it regularly. I'm trying to plant very heavily from the beginning. Obviously, you don't have to do this. If you're doing this at home, you could use a lot fewer plants and just wait patiently until the scape is filled in. We don't want to do that because at Green Aqua we would like you to see as close to the end result as possible within 2-3 weeks. The second plant that we're using in this scape is the Ludwigia palustris Spec Super Red. That is already a higher plant, so we will keep it in the background or mid-ground background. I'm not sure, we'll see after we did the hardscape. I've got two super reds here. One has been in the plant holding tank for a longer time, so you can see that it has already adjusted to the underwater condition. The other one came in a pot from the nursery just recently, and you can see that it's a lot more greenish and everything. So you will need time for this to transform into this. There's another Alternanthera that we're going to use, and that is the Reiniki Rosa Nervig, and that is also a higher plant, so that's going to move to the background for sure. It has longer leaves, it's bigger. This one is a little bit lower, but with time, with trimming, in a couple of weeks you'll see my point of using this. The next plant that I'm going to use is the Ludwigia glandulosa, which is also a big leafed background plant, so I'm going to use that in the background as well. Big plants in the background, and all I have to do is to fill up the space behind these rocks. Stealing in progress. I'm going to use the Rotala HRR in the background behind the rock. You're not going to see it. I'm going to wait until it grows up behind the rock here. Oh, this is not enough. We need more. We need 2 times more than this. Let's use Pinnatifida in the back, Hygrophila pinnatifida, which is an epiphyte plant, and it's the red version of that plant. Sorry, I'm blocking the view, I know. This is very red. This whole thing is very red. And with that, in about 2 hours, we finished the whole scape, we planted it. All that remains to be done is to fill it up with water, do the regular water changes. We're not very afraid of these Cereus stones leaching a lot of calcium and magnesium and hardening the water in the long run. We always change the water with reverse osmosis water, which is really soft, and then remineralize it to TDS 120 as always, and then wait for the hardness to grow back to 180 in a week or so in the long run, and then reset it to 120 again with soft water, and so on and so on. I hope that you guys liked it. We're gonna finish this video by showing you all the B-rolls that we shot 2 weeks after now. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Next week on Green Aqua, we teach you planted maintenance.
I'm going to teach you what to do if you made a mistake with the plant choice.